to keep that vibe. Rubber side down.
Yeah, then, ladies and gents, I'm off to Motorcycle Live up at the NEC. Now the show's well and truly going to be over by the time this goes up. It's the last weekend of it, and I'm spending the weekend up there, so I'm not going to be able to get this posted until probably Tuesday. Yeah, I've got a few subscribers from different parts of the world, so I know a lot of them won't have been to the show, and I put a shout out on Friday before coming up here, asking if there was any specifics people wanted me to have a look at when I was there. So when I get up to the show, I'm going to be looking at those comments on that video and targeting the bikes that I concentrate the video camera on to those, which makes it a little bit more interactive for you. Means you get to see the actual bikes that you want to get to see, as opposed to the stuff that I ram down your throat. Now I am specifically going up there to see the 790 myself, the KTM 790 Duke. Very interested in that as a future purchase, although so far all I've seen, even from KTM, haven't really added to my lust for it, only deteriorated that lust. It's so different from the prototype that came out at the show last year, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that in the flesh, and maybe it will rekindle my enthusiasm for it again. There's a few bikes, like I say, that my subscribers have asked me to have a look at for them, so I'm going to target them, and if anyone else has dropped any comments in that video asking me to have a look at specifics, I shall look at them too. And like I say, the bike show's up in Birmingham. I live down south near the south coast, or not far from the south coast, so it's quite a trek, especially on a little bike like this. So it's going to be a good little test to see how it copes with long motorway journeys. I had someone ask me how well this bike copes with the long distances yesterday as well, so that will be a good experiment for that. I have done some pretty long journeys on this recently, but I think the NEC is probably going to be the longest single direction, although a future video I've got coming out was possibly longer. Not sure. But yes, this should be pretty cool experiment to see how comfy this bike is over distance. Right, so we're almost there now. Turn off at the next junction. As usual, Birmingham traffic is shit, but I can use the hard shoulder now, I believe. So I'm going to slot myself down there nicely. And then we've got to find the NEC. I think it's actually literally just off the motorway. I know it's not difficult to find. Staying at the Hilton, and we've got ourselves some decent nosh booked for this evening. Can't remember where Matt said it was they were booked in for, but I think it's in the NEC complex. I'm not sure, but it should give us a nice full belly with some beers to go with it, and then back to the hotel, get a decent kip and some breakfast, and tomorrow's adventure around the NEC bike show awaits. Right, where's this Hilton? Hilton, right. Okay, that's good. Hello, mate.
Hello, buddy.
Cool. And there's his little 390. Awesome stuff. Hello, mate. How you doing? Good. Fine hands. Cool beats. Great to see you, mate. Great to see you. What's it feel like? It feels a lot bigger than the 390, I imagine. It looks a lot bigger.
It feels like a good wedge between your thumbs.
Yeah, I mean, that tank is so much bigger than it is on the 390, isn't it? It's got real size tyres as well.
Totally non-adjustable suspension.
Yeah, so it's definitely the base model, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the exhaust on this is what is the absolute letdown for me.
It's got to be not that low. You've got the cat down here.
Yeah, so you can lose the cat. You've got the shock going up in the centre there, which obviously it's going to. So wrapping an exhaust around that's going to be a real pain in the backside.
Yeah.
But you could quite easily do a fiberglass seat unit.
Yeah, I think it could come in tight like what you've done.
You could definitely have it so it come out there, even if you had it coming in at an angle inside there and then just coming out with a slash cut to square it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, it's absolutely very basic. I mean, non-adjustable suspension. The dashboard is very similar. I mean, it's got extra stuff over the 390, but it's probably going to steam up still.
Tried to keep the oval of the exhaust how it was on the prototype, wasn't it?
Yeah, but just on the side. Yeah, I mean it is prettier in the flesh.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good size between the other gear.
It's not horrible. So you've got like the good bar end bits, which are just sort of power parts.
Is that a fake carbon fibre?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
I think that's actually real carbon fibre. It feels like it, but I mean...
The pegs which
yeah.
you get an angle when you fall.
But again, non-adjustable fork, so this isn't some special R version or anything, it's just got the power parts added on. And then, like you say, crash bungs on it and stuff. I mean, I actually quite like this exhaust pipe. I mean,
It looks much better without the pillion hanging down.
Oh yeah, that's what they've taken off, isn't it? They've taken them off. Yeah, so without the pillion pegs it does look a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got the potential for being really nice. Also,
So that's the quick shifter. It's got a quick shifter.
yeah, and it's an up and down jobby, and that's standard, that is.
Yeah.
It's got quite a good electronics package. It's got directional traction control. Sorry, ABS.
ABS and lean angle traction control.
Yep.
And the 390's got lean angle engine cut and only if you crash.
Yeah, let's not crash. They've really lost the plot with this one. I mean, like, it's utter chav. I mean, it's fucking horrible. And it looks nasty as well. I mean, like, you can even see the vinyl behind it. Oh, this is just disgusting. That is just... They just haven't got a clue, have they, on that one? I mean, the V7iii is meant to be a really good bike, because they've changed the engine out on there now. They're using their heads off the V9, I believe, or something like that, and it's giving it like an extra 3 or 4 horsepower and a new lease of life. But this is interesting. You've got your rear brake reservoir there.
Yours is the standard one, isn't it?
To be honest, I don't know where the reservoir is on mine, but I think it's in a more traditional place. But that's kind of an interesting touch. I wonder if they've done any improvements on the clutch, because the clutch on it is shit.
Yours got ABS?
No, mine was the year before they brought ABS out on everything.
So that's probably why he's got a different master.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, not thought of that. This certainly probably like this. This looks great, but what a fucking ridiculous name. I mean, it looks lovely, doesn't it?
No, it looks very hipsterish.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of it's the thing that everyone's doing, and I don't know that they're all doing it particularly well. But
Preload adjustable.
yeah, basic suspension, but it's still adjustable, which is nice. Quite a funky looking seat. I quite like the bikini fairing on it. They make it spin too slow.
It's not on a high speed spin cycle, that's it.
It'll never get dry. That is actually, it's almost like 125 style chain, isn't it? And for a sort of entry level bike, it's got quite a nice bit of style, I think.
It's got a bit of coolness to it.
The buttons
was off of the
old dash. Oh, so they basically rebranded the old dashboard for it. It's got the same forks. Same swing arm. But it looks skinnier than the Duke, so I think it could be off the RC. Because the frames are slightly different, aren't they?
I don't think they're that different. They're calling it 375cc, so
yeah, so it is basically. And then you've got this one, which is the scrambler version. That looks bloody awful. I don't know why they wouldn't have tidied that up.
it looks like it's gone rusty, doesn't it, underneath there?
Yeah.
It's got a bit of hammerite over it.
You can't corner properly, can it? And 4 sets of forks.
Yeah, another adventure machine. Oh, that looks fucking terrible.
Two mud guards. Just for when there's that extra bit of mud. I really don't know anything about Royal Enfield. This looks quite pretty. I mean, again, not my...
I don't know what they like.
Far more interesting than what we've got over here. My old boss bought a Royal Enfield in India and rode it back. I don't think you have to start today. I love it, it's actually got a kickstart though. It's a bit slack in the gearbox there. Good old crash bars.
Barn door screen on it.
I like the 2 foot neck positions that the kids found there. Really good for the chrome work.
Well, it shows you how unnatural.
Yeah, it's very. Although his legs are probably a little bit short for on my way.
So we can't quite reach them.
So 47 brake horsepower. So it's about the same as my Guzzi. in power and stuff to the Guzzi. So 650cc, so again it's showing how shit the Guzzi engine is. That the Royal Enfield is just powerful. 200 fucking brake horsepower. You got to be fucking nuts.
49,975 pounds plus VAT.
So this is the new KTM 790 exhaust pipe. Bish, bash, bosh, noms.
Buddy, ride safe, I'll see you soon.
Ride safe, Matt, ride safe. Right, let's get this show on the road. What an awesome weekend. There's something definitely wrong with the clutch on this bike. Shouldn't have to adjust it every ride. Oh man, so glad to get off the motorway. Oh, they are not fun on motorbikes. At least in a car you're warm. So, the show and the weekend. It's been a blinding weekend. It's been absolutely amazing to catch up with my mate Matt. Don't see him anywhere near enough, but life gets in the way of that sort of stuff sometimes. But really cool. We did 2 nights, so it meant that we had the full day to explore the show with no time constraints or anything like that, and it meant we could have a beer without having to worry about driving back afterwards and all that sort of thing. So yes, it was really good, really good to let our hairs down and stuff like that, and a really great way to explore the show, where it's far more chilled out and relaxed because you're not stressing about the fact that you've got a 3-hour drive home or ride home afterwards. It's been very awesome to go up on the bikes. It kind of makes it more real if you go to the bike show on a bike, doesn't it? I do wish it was in the summer though. That way it would be a bit warmer. There was a real good turnout from the bike manufacturers quite often up at the NEC show. It's been a bit of a letdown with some of the manufacturers, and there were some surprises there too. I think they're called SWM, and basically they've taken over the Husqvarna factory, or the BMW Husqvarna factory in Italy, and are producing effectively Husqvarnas, but proper ones instead of like the shitty ones that we get, which are KTM clones. And it would be interesting to see how that company takes off. I really do. I wish them all the best. I mean, like the Husqvarna SM510 Supermoto was just an awesome bike, and it's the only bike I've ever regretted selling. So yeah, the fact that they're producing basically a clone of that means that I could potentially end up on a Supermoto again in the future. And yeah, so I'm being interested to see how that sort of pans out and things. Anyhow, yes, I didn't go up there to see them, it was just a surprise to see them. I had a really good look at the KTM 790 Duke, and we kept going back to it just to kind of double check to see if we still had the same opinions on it. And it is a far better looking bike in the flesh than it is in the pictures and the other videos. So I'm guessing for you guys watching my video, you're going to look at that bike and go, is it? Because you're looking at it in a video again. And when you get to poke and prod around with it in the flesh and touch buttons and stuff, it's a much nicer bike. It's not the bike for me in its current situation though. There has to be an R version. It's got non-adjustable suspension. Don't get me wrong, I mean, if the suspension's right, you don't need to adjust it, but it's not going to be right. It's also kind of got 2 semi-plain paint jobs as well, which strikes me as they're planning on doing a more special looking R version with maybe adjustable suspenders and maybe a clutch that doesn't slip like a bitch you use with KTM. Angry. Yeah, so it's crying out for an R version, and because they've released this one with only 105 brake horsepower, and I know brake horsepower isn't everything. You want a decent torque curve, but you do want to be able to rev it. It's no point. It's like this will rev up to 10,000 RPM, but that's at 100 miles an hour. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm not going to be sitting at 100 miles an hour on this. If I want to sit on the motorway at 70 miles an hour, I'm doing 7,000 RPM, which isn't a comfy motorway speed for the engine, you know. So we need a little bit more power from that bike to mean you can have a few more revs and actually sit in the middle of the rev range when you're doing 70 rather than towards the top. I do think it being a little bit lighter would be nicer as well, because it's dry weights KTM quote. The fact that it's lighter than all the competition is a bit false, because the competition generally has bigger petrol tanks, which means that they're heavier wet, yes, but they go for longer, so you get there faster because you're not having to stop for fuel every 2 seconds. So they need to shave some more weight off it, I think, which I'm sure they can do with a titanium can, and maybe they do some lighter wheels as well as upgraded suspension. The Royal Enfield surprised me as well. I don't pay them any attention. There's never been a bike that's interested me, so I didn't really have a clue about their range or anything like that. Yeah, so the Enfields, they've got quite a large range of the same bike. They're kind of doing what Triumph are doing with the Scrambler and the Bobber and Thruxton and Bonneville and stuff. They're all effectively the same fucking bikes, aren't they? Or thereabouts. Don't get me wrong, they're lovely bikes. I'm not criticising them at all, but they're all like the same engine in same frame with just a different bodywork type styling job on them, and that works. It works for Triumph. Triumph are doing incredibly well for themselves, and I think it'll probably work for Royal Enfield in a way. What did surprise me, I thought actually their bikes were quite low powered, and yes, they are quite low powered, but they've still got more horsepower than my Moto Guzzi, and they're less cc, so they're obviously doing it better. So yes, they're about 45 brake horsepower or something like that, and 650cc. So yes, that's not too bad, is it really, for a classic looking bike? I didn't really look at the prices of them, but I imagine with the fad for retro, they're probably holding a decent value with a name like Royal Enfield as well. I had a little look on the Suzuki stand at the SV650X, which, although I'm familiar with the SV650, I wasn't familiar with the X, and yes, it is kind of a styling job on what is basically just an SV. But actually I think as an introduction, as a beginner bike, a beginner proper sized bike, it's awesome. They've added a nice bit of flair to it, so it doesn't look quite as standard or as boring as some of the other bikes of the same sort of engine size, and it looked quite cool, looked quite funky. It's not really a bike I'd pay much attention to for myself to buy, just because it's just not on my radar, but I think as a bike for someone who's either looking for their first progression to some more cc after doing their 125 for a while, I think it'd be awesome for that. Or someone who's getting back into biking, who's had a lay up for a few years, something that's not too intimidating while they find their feet with being on 2 wheels again. But an absolutely awesome weekend, and I do hope you enjoyed the crumpet as much as I did. But those of you that asked about specific bikes, I hope you find the content that I've put up on this video covers the stuff that you wanted to see about them, really, and I hope you found it entertaining. Just as a side note regarding the 790, if there's no R version, there'll be a 765 in my garage rather than a KTM. It just doesn't have that specialness that I required as it is. I'm not saying it's not a good bike, and I'm not saying it's the wrong price point or anything like that. I think 8.5 grand's kind of on the money for the bike that it is, but unless they can give me more, even if it costs more, I think the 765 is a better bet. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you like the video, give it a little thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a little thumbs down. So there was no totty, but there was crumpet. Whatever you do though, please drop in a comment, give me some feedback, tell me what you liked, what you didn't. That way, when I attend future shows, I can at least attempt to try and do it a little bit better. Like I say, bike shows aren't really my thing for filming. I'm not a film person. I'm just a vlogger on a motorcycle with the clutch slipping like crazy. Ride safe, take care, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye for now. If I ever get out of it. Oh man, terror bubbles.